Hey there, this is Haplin with a quick video on how to track Google Ads inside of GoHighLevel. So this is very similar to meta tracking, but a little bit different. First, I'll go over how it's very similar. In reporting, you have, just like you have a Facebook ads report, we have a Google ads report, works great. As you can see here, all of the top of funnel stats are right there: clicks, cost, revenue, ROI, CPC, CTR, and more. When it comes to the down funnel stuff, specifically sales and leads, if you want tracking to show up automatically in this reports tab, at the time of the making of this video, you do actually have to install what's called the precautionary script inside your Google Ads account. This is if you want to see which campaign was associated with which sale. That's just an extra step you got to go through. I have added a link to an extremely helpful and very simple help doc. It is linked beneath this video, so head over to the knowledge base, follow the steps to install the precautionary script if you want to get the most out of that specific part of the reporting. However, I'm not going to go super deep on that because there's an even cooler way to track stuff just based on the pipeline. We already have a pipeline set up in most cases. If you're doing this right, we probably have a sales pipeline set up and the new leads are being added to the pipeline, and then you're tracking them down a pipeline that is fully customized, right? So different businesses might have different approaches to their sales process, different steps in their sales process. That's the whole point of a customizable pipeline where you create the stages. But when it comes to reporting, this reporting tab is just going to report on what it can report on. There's only so many things that it does report on right out of the box. It does work right out of the box, and it's great for the top of funnel stuff. Number of clicks, number of impressions, all that stuff, great for the reporting tab. But if you want to track your KPIs down funnel and just have it be in step with your sales pipeline, there's a way to do that and just map it to your sales pipeline. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. In this reports tab, there's a column space, and I'm going to have you add ID. We want to see the ID associated with the campaign, and for any given campaign, we are going to copy that ID. Once we have it copied, now let's go into a workflow. You could use an existing workflow. I'm just going to build one from scratch for the sake of demo purposes, super simple and straightforward, but this could be steps in an existing workflow, right? So I just created a workflow totally from scratch. I'm calling it Google Ads Tracking, and I'm going to show you how to do this. This is kind of where we get into the difference between Facebook ads and Google pay-per-click, because with Facebook, we have a lead form set up where the trigger is actually lead form fill, and then we can go track those leads because the trigger is the form itself. It's a different form. But when you're paying Google to have people click on a website, we need a way to have it distinguish between organic and paid traffic. So there's no one trigger that's going to specify leads came from Google Ads. They're just coming from the website, but we're able to track which ad they came from if they were a paid lead. So that's the main way that Google is just different from Facebook, but it's totally fine. We have a way around this. Presumably, if you're capturing leads from the website and then you have Google Ads set up, you probably have a workflow already that deals with the way those leads are captured. It could be a form fill, it could be a chat widget engagement, it could be a button that they tap on their phone that automatically creates an inbound call that is answered by voice AI. There's all sorts of ways to get leads into GoHighLevel. We've already talked about all that. So live right now, I'm just going to add the trigger form fill because this is probably the most ubiquitous example. Let's just go form is 109, just an example of a form. So this is the form that's on my website, and you probably already have something like this set up, automations making it so that every time someone fills out a form, you're following up. So you might have an SMS step that's following up with them. Beautiful. Do you want to get your thing, book an appointment, driving them to the next stage in the pipeline, etc. You probably have the pipeline creation. That's actually really important. Let's go ahead and do that. So in Jack's pipeline stage 1, just making sure that they're created there. All of this is just the stuff that you're doing anyways, right? We've already covered this in the nurture section when you learned about workflows, but here's the part where we are going to make sure that we differentiate between the paid leads and the organic leads. And it has to do with this create or update opportunities step. In here, before the step, we will create an if else. And actually, just for good measure, let's say that we have a wait and then another follow-up. Let's say that your opportunity creation stage is embedded in the workflow already. It's right in the middle. It's somewhere probably near the top if that's one of the first things that you're doing. But then you have a whole series of follow-ups. So you have this workflow that looks something like this. It could be as complicated or as simple as you want. But right before this create or update opportunity, what I want you to do is add an if else. This is just a very neat little hack I just learned from our product team. So I'm going to find my if else action, and then here I'm going to call this branch Google Ad. And then this part is where the magic happens. The criteria for the filter is going to be contact details, And then we're going to scroll down until we find a field called campaign ID. And there are actually two different campaign IDs. There is first attribution under contact first attribution, and then there is last attribution. I'm going to go ahead and just do both so that it doesn't matter if they clicked it first or last. If they clicked my ad at any point, I'm going to track them. So I started with last, and then I'll do is, and then that. If I want to do multiple ads, I could do any of and then paste in all the different IDs, or I could have different paths per each ad, etc. You can kind of do whatever you want here, but let's just say either campaign ID last click is this ID, or I will add, let's add another segment. So now I will add campaign ID first attribution is the same thing. So now either one will send folks down that path. So the condition itself, I'll just name is Google ad, hit save. So now if it is this ID, if this ID is associated with this contact, then they will go down the left-hand side of the path. So what we've done now is successfully segment the leads based on whether they are coming in from this ad or from somewhere else. And now it's a question of what do we want to do with those leads in those two buckets. So what I want to do is I want to create an opportunity either way. So I am going to copy this action right here, and then I'm going to add a go to. This is why you can do this even if the opportunity is right in the middle of the workflow. You can use a go to just reintegrate them. So if they come down this path, they'll get this create opportunity and then go continue on. They go this path, they'll get a different creator update opportunity action, but then they'll still be reintegrated and the streams will converge into the main flow again. And now what I'm going to do here is if they did come from this Google ad, I am going to update the source to something different. So I'm just putting Google ad in the source. You can put whatever you want. And then here I will make this source organic. And you could do this in other ways too. You could add a particular tag to somebody so it's more visible. You could update a custom field. You could make a note. You could add a task. You can do whatever you want to these leads in these two different buckets. But this if else is the important kind of preliminary step just to get them segmented into two different paths. What's going to happen is for the lifetime of their journey, when the opportunity gets updated, say when they book an appointment, when they get on the call, when they get documents sent to them, when they sign those documents, when they click on a certain page, whatever else you have going on in your sales pipeline, if the opportunity source is blank, then it will just be a holdover from what it already was. So I recommend in future workflows or workflows downstream from the contact creation, just keep opportunity source blank. It will be a holdover from when they were first created, and now you'll have every single lead accounted for in terms of where their source came from. So here I am in this opportunities pipeline, and I have two test opportunities that I just doctored up. One of them has this source organic, and the other has this source Google ad, just like I set up in the workflow. So this is what would be automated by that workflow. So now the way that I can segment a report based on these different opportunities is simply by searching here. If I put in the word organic, we'll see only the leads with the word organic in the source are going to show up. So if I have all these leads from all these different sources, if I'm doing Facebook and Google and organic content and social media organic posting and all sorts of different ways, if I've got different ways of getting leads into HighLevel, as long as I just make sure and update the source from where they came from, I can just plug that source in right here and see the pipeline, but only for those leads. So I'll do the same thing here with Google Ad. We can see there's my Google Ad lead, Haplin 1 test. So again, there are other ways you could do this. Now that you know how to segment leads from a Google campaign, you can add a tag to them, keep track of it that way. And you can even segment based on tag in the opportunities view too. So if you only want to see the people with a certain tag, it works literally the same way as source. But I really like doing it this way because it leverages the pipeline that you've already built. Sales reps or organizations are already working on getting people moved through this pipeline. So to be able to see a report on ad sources or just lead sources in general that matches visually with the stages in their pipeline, seeing how many people from this source have gotten to this stage, that stage, or all the way to the end, It's just apples to apples with the existing pipeline. So there you go. That is a brief introduction to how to track leads from Google, both on the Google Stats side, the reporting tab itself, great for like cost per click, number of impressions, the Googly stuff, but then the rest of the sales pipeline can also be tracked based on source using the method I just showed you. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next module.